All right, another episode of Facecheck. It was just usual, nothing spicy at all. We didn't all mauled or have sexy photos of LS in possibly Rakan. Was it Rakan? No, set cosplay. Yeah, none of that happened. Literally shirtless. Did not happen. Or did it? All right, everyone, you know the deal. dGon versus commenters. Facecheck, season 3, episode 28. This was the one where, yes, the Jiizuke rant happened, and a lot of you had a lot of opinions about it, so let's get to it. All right, first up, JohnCorn Corn-Propst. Sorry, homie, I tried. Said, this message to dGon specifically, sure, it may have personally offended you as to what Jiizuke said about Deflin. Okay, here we go. But as at least someone is saying something interesting as an LCS player, I honestly wish Jiizuke would have made a post about that in English, because as of now, you can take 75% of this league and they won't be as entertaining as Doublelift alone. It's one of the main reasons viewership and fan interest is down. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because I kind of get the general idea of where this is going to go afterwards. You talk about the broadcast, you know, PR answer, sugarcoats, and sugarcoating things, and people love co-streams because they're brash and honest or whatever. So I think you're attributing a couple things incorrectly. One, we can start with the taking it personally, and I know that's not what this comment necessarily is about, but like, yeah, I took it personally, but the whole point was that if Jiizuke said it the way that it was meant to be said, none of this would have been an issue. You could just be like, hey, definitely wasn't great. Danny's much better. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I don't think that's PR sugarcoating it either, right? Like, sugarcoating it would only be talking about Danny or something like, definitely was really good, just not good enough. Like that's sugarcoating it, right? So that's not the case. Also, I don't think that it's necessarily the entertainment value as well one of the reasons why the viewership, quote unquote, is dropping. I think it's just the quality of play. Like, we've gone to Worlds multiple times as North American LCS and have gotten our asses kicked, like wiped on the floor. And so that in itself is disappointing. And then if you just take the comparison of what the other leagues are doing in terms of their gameplay, like, we watched it. We made LCS and LEC awards every week. And as I'm looking at some of these awards, I'm like, what the fuck? The LEC plays that are happening, the highlights that are happening are sick. Whereas some of the plays that the LCS guys are doing, like, it's much easier for me to make it more funny and entertaining by like taking, oh, here's another fail. Pros are just like us. Oh, here it is. Jiizuke doing Jiizuke things. Like, that the quality has dropped as well. I think that is a major part of it. That is an issue. I don't think that you're fully wrong though. I think that there are a lot of players that don't have personalities shine in interviews. I think that is mostly on the players of top teams. I think Revenge is great. He doesn't hold back his words. I think Insanity is great. Actually, everyone on Immortals is great. All of them are great. Unfortunately, Immortals, a lower team. I think if you look over at Dignitas, Acadian is a fantastic interview. Afro's a great interview. If he gives you the interview, he's like lessened as many he's given, you know, but if Fudge is a great interview, like, I don't know what you mean by like, hey, everyone gives PR answers. And if you're only looking at the broadcast, then the other part is that, hey, like, you have limited amount of time to extract that personality from them. So I think it's a little different. And when you look at the coach streams, why people love coach streamers, yes, it's because they're brash, it's because they're honest, but it's also because those are the heroes that this was built on. They already have an existing fan base because they had done it for years. Let Spica and Blabber fight against each other for 3 more years across the LCS. And then we can have, wow, that guy's a superstar, right? Wow, that guy has a huge fan base. Because who is probably one of the best players, if not the best player in the league over the last 3 years? It'd be CoreJJ. That's not CoreJJ's mantra. CoreJJ's mantra is, I want to play League, I love League, and I want to make NA better. Impact's mantra is, I want to play League, I love League, let's make my teammates better, right? Like, those are your leaders in the clubhouse. They're more in the Bjergsen camp than they are in the Doublelift camp. So I think before we're like, oh, well, we're muzzling people from saying what they want to say. No, there's a billion ways to say things that the way that you want to say it without being a donkey. And even if you do say it and you're a donkey and I call you out, that would be good for you anyways. It's been great for Jiizuke, right? People are like, wow, dGon has a terrible take. Jiizuke says it like it is. This is great for him. It's fine. Nade Storms says, I agree with dGon to have 2 awards. The All-Pro Award is obviously not a perfect representation of who is the best, but that is also the point. There is weighted votes for each group of people. Have one that's just players and coaches. Yes, please. LCS Players Association, please have the LCSPA Player of the Year, or, you know, first team. That's it. Like, you guys do that one, and then let the LCS, the league, have its vote and run it the way that traditional sports has ran it, which is usually media gets votes. You had to do a certain amount of service before you get your vote, and usually there's multiple teams. Someone asked in the comments earlier too, like, why is there 3 teams All-Pro? That's 30% of the league. That's because that's how traditional sports has done it, and I agree with you. I don't think it should be 3. Maybe it should be 2, like first team and second team All-Pro. But universally, I think in sports in North America, even in college, usually there's first team, second team, and third team. And then honorable mentions because there's so many players. Since there isn't that, I agree. Let's knock it down to 2. First team and second team All-Pro. And you could still take first, second, and third place votes and then break it that way. But yeah, like I don't think there needs to be a third team All-Pro. All right, the Lanky Wanderer, bringing it back to a matchup. I hate agreeing with dGon. Why? But I do think that Golden Guardians will take Cloud9 to 5 games. Cloud9 can't lose yet, though. Because they haven't faced TSM yet. Those are just the rules. That's right. Those are the rules. Can't wait for Cloud9 TSM for the world spot on the line. It's going to be sad for one of these very impassioned, expensive fan bases. Bang Shishigami says, I want Perks to be held accountable because I just had a dream this morning that he was playing LOL on my PC and stole my girl. Jokes aside, if Cloud9 doesn't win 3-0 versus Golden Guardians, then I don't see any way they manage to crawl back and beat any of the teams they would need to beat to actually make it to 3rd place. All right. I love this comment because I put this one in because when I was reading it on the first half, I had been reading all the comments. And there was a lot of like really crappy takes, real Reddit takes. And when I read this one, I was like, holy, this is the most Reddit take ever. And was about to like comment, and then I saw that you were JK. You hit me with the /S. That's pretty good. I disagree with you and Dom and Ellis's take here. Golden Guardians is an in-form team. They are in form. They figured it out a little bit. I mean, I guess they lost a couple. They stumbled some games along the way, but they made playoffs. They had a miniature playoffs with CLG and FlyQuest to make that final spot, and they're the ones that had the metal and the grit to get it done. It also did require CLG to beat FlyQuest, truly counter logic, but it's fine. I just still give them a puncher's chance, and even if they go 3-1, right? I predicted 3-2, and that was pretty strong. That was probably for the memes. But if they go 3-1, I think Cloud9 just needs a success to hang their hat on right now. They just need reps. They need a win, and I think even if it comes against Golden Guardians, I'm fine with it. And I hope Cloud9 fans are fine with it too. Just get something going because, like, Perks needs to shit on somebody. And before he even gets to do that, he needs to get a win. A win that feels good. A consistent win. Because that light switch wasn't going on. Is Nick Rock? We'll go with that. Brings up a point when we were chatting about doing the math. And LS has said something like, oh, in an RTS game, you do the math. In a fighting game, you do math. So is Nick Rock says, in a fighting game and an RTS game, it's just you and your opponent. In a MOBA, people have 9 excuses that prevent you from grasping fundamental concepts and an inflated sense of urgency. That's pretty cool. I never really thought of it that way. Yeah, definitely in a fighting game, there's way less variables so that, you know, there's a certain amount of combos, and if it's going to land or not is very dependent on the frame, you know, the frames that you gain or lose with each attack, with each animation, with each block. So that That to me makes more sense why that's easier to do it. With an RTS though, I still feel like there's a lot of things happening, and there's still the whole fog of war, right? There is incomplete information. So I think that to me is more closer towards a MOBA where, hey, League, you also have incomplete information, you know, and there are a lot of ways that people can come and engage on you. You should still know like some core basics of the math of like when waves crash, how long it takes to get from bot tower to top tower through river, how long it takes to go through blue buff, how much XP you know, a wave and a half is. Like, being able to calculate those types of things, I just had never seen anyone do that consistently in League. Maybe you can go back to Lemonation and the Cloud9 boys of old. Maybe they did that, but and then, you know, if you're just looking from the outside, general analysis, maybe Gigabyte Marines, when they did the whole Nocturne team composition with Levi, that to me are like the couple that you can think of. And then maybe the last couple were, there was a meta where bruisers came down on the bottom side of the map, and it was easier to play like support in Tryndamere or support in Jax than it was to play AD carries. And then I guess the shift with mages on the bottom side of the map. Those are the last couple times that like math was done. But even then, those were meta shifts that eventually changed. Not necessarily like, hey, what is the value of a dragon compared to a top lane tower or a wave and, you know, 3 plates. Like that type of math, I think still is yet to be done per year. Friend of the show, Mike Wallace, great wide receiver, says, Blabber is honestly the only player that needs to get bumped from Cloud9. He has been too disappointing time and time again when it matters most. Regular season only matters when you're not successful in playoffs, and yes, I know there is a bunch of issues with Cloud9, but a new jungle can help the team a lot if you can someone like a Santorin for Cloud9. Thoughts me. I mean, it's too late. With the Cloud9 roster, they had their opportunity to make their move, and they did. Let's not forget, at the beginning of summer, they're like, yeah, Sven's the issue. We'll put in King. And King underwhelmed. And then they put back in Sven, and they looked better. And then now, there are too many issues. There are too many issues, and you're right. I think something needed to change. Something needs to change. But it feels like the thing that needs to change right now is Perks' play. It's his play. You know what he's capable of doing. You know, it feels almost like a Crown situation a little bit, where you know, CLG got crowned from Optic. This was it. This was the big move. Like, you got the, you know, the world champion. Here we go. And it just sputters and sputters and sputters. And like, if you just change the nameplate, there's no way this is the same Crown. There's no way this is the same Perks. Honestly, Perks has looked more like Jiizuke of the last year and a half than Perks, right? He's just constantly being aggressive, getting caught, dying, and putting his team in tough situations. And he said that, you know, the playoff switch, it'll go on, the light bulb will go on, and it's just, yeah, I don't think this is a Blabber issue. Blabber has had a down split, a little bit more inconsistent of the split, but everyone on that team has. The meta has shifted away from him. So yeah, if you get Santorin, sure, of course you're better. You're not going to get Santorin. There are no options better than Blabber right now that are available. So I think it's ride or die with your guy. Here we go. It's Blabber, Crabber, and he's got to be Blabber from here until, what, 3 more matches to make it to Worlds? It's this one, and then the knockout one, and then the qualifier. Yeah, 3 more matches to make it to Worlds here if you're a Cloud9 fan. Cram124 wants to weigh in on the all-pro voting, specifically in the support role, where I had an issue, but I think I got proved wrong in the playoff spot, but here we go either way. As far as the core JJ over Vulcan, I would argue part of the reason why core JJ won over Vulcan is because of Fudge in part. When Cloud9 was shitting the bed compared to expected play, Fudge really stepped up and played a massive role in their wins, and Vulcan was a big part of most of those games. Whereas, in contrast, you have TL where the team is shitting the bed. Core JJ was one of the heaviest influencers in their wins consistently. More or less, it is easier to shine brighter when you are being contrasted with the general level of play, like Tactical played noticeably worse than VENN. So when something positive happened in a TL bot lane, more credit is given to Core JJ, whereas in the Cloud9's bot lane, successes, the credit is shared. Doubling down on part of why Core JJ is getting more credit than expected. Not saying this is right, but just a theory and why. Cram, I like this observation. And I have another example for you. One that I think affected me too, right? Who was my bot lane and basically everyone's bot laner of the split? It was FBI, right? Where's Hoohee in that conversation? In my conversation, he's second. I think I put him second. I really did think Core JJ was second team. I thought he was third team. But still, like in a lot of people's, he was third or maybe even fourth team, maybe even fifth team, right? On the show, we talked like, hey, where's Ignar, right? Ignar had a hell of a split. And a lot of that because Danny gets to play by himself and he's capable of doing so, and he can roam and do the Ignar things that he's great at doing. And that doesn't even include sword art, right? Supports. I think we had a pretty good pool there, but just to me, it felt like we were, according to your theory, and a theory that I agree with, we were discounting the impact of Vulcan in the face of a great top lane performance as well from Fudge. So I didn't like that as much. I think this is Vulcan years to win it, and I don't like that he didn't, but it's fine. Thanks for the comment. Hey, everyone, put your hands together. Clap in the chat. Let's get some claps. We have a TSM fan. A TSM fan has shown up in the comments of Facecheck. This is pretty crazy. Corey Blaisdell says, TSM fan here since season 4. Really a Bjerg fan, but I will root for them as long as he's there in some form. Just wanted to let y'all know that some of us recognize the team/org's flaws and agree with your criticism, but I'm rooting for them anyways because I want to believe Bjerg and Spica can knock some sense into the rest of the team. I'd love to know why, but that's okay. I have been disappointed internationally by them for years, but I will continue to support the Bjerg King because, here comes the why, I believe he genuinely works hard and puts his soul into that team. It's obviously somewhat blind faith, but that's what being a fan and not a bandwagoner is. Okay, like, all right, okay, all right. Every player puts their heart and soul into the team. Why am I a fan of Definitely? Because I got to see him put his heart and soul into the team multiple times at every step of the way. All right. I just needed to clarify that one. Okay. Also, Bjergsen's great, right? If you would have said because he put his heart and soul in the team and it provided results, that I think that would, then I wouldn't feel as strongly. Again, remember, I'm the only one picking TSM to make it on through. I do believe TSM is going to beat TL. And they're going to go to Worlds. And that's the goal for this team. That is where Sword Art will earn his money, where the team before just couldn't do it. They didn't have the pieces to do it. So I think they should go to Worlds. I think TSM is one of our best representations to do that and is best prepared to do that with that roster. You're a little worried about getting lost, but you have Sword Art there to kind of guide the team through, and anyone can play AD carry right now. You just have to not lose AD carry. AD carry is not an impactful role right now. It is all about your solo lanes and your jungle. Bot lane is just there. That's why the supports don't even stay there. They're like, yeah, let's go get the important roles ahead. So if I look at TSM that way, they've got high ceiling, kind of low floor, but high ceiling top lane. They've got Spica, the MVP of the league, and they've got the stablest mid laner in the LCS right now in Power V. Seems pretty good to me. Corey, and the rest of the House of TSM, God bless you. Carlos Enrique says, I honestly think both Perks and Sword Art are overpaid. But my thoughts were basically, my thoughts were, and where, okay. Basically, why would you pay that much for a mid laner that has been playing AD carry professionally for a big part of the last 2 seasons to come play mid? It just doesn't make sense, and I can't believe they agreed to that. To me, him playing poorly is pretty more or less expected. Carlos, that is a fantastic point that none of us have hit. We just assumed he would be able to flip back into the mid lane, which is true. Like, I did assume that. I think it's okay to assume that because he proved it, right? They flipped back and forth multiple times. He's like, Caps, you're gonna play support or play bot. And then Caps is like, all right, I did it. Like, let me go back, right? And Perks went back, right? So sure, like, I think that is a valid thing that hasn't been covered, or it is valid that it hasn't been covered. I don't know how valid it is. I think there are other issues playing him. It's not like all of a sudden Perks forgot how to play, you know, champs. I mean, he's still playing Lucian. Lucian is in the meta. We saw Yone been picked up. We've seen other mages. We've seen assassins come out. Like, I don't know. I don't think champ pool is an issue here. And you pay that much for someone that has been there consistently. Like, consistently. You got to see what it was like when North America paid for someone who got there once, Roxa, but to do it like back to back, that's different. And to have that opportunity come up and have that player become available, that to me just you have to take that opportunity. I think you have to take that opportunity. And unfortunately for Cloud9 and I guess Perks' reputation, that's how much it cost. It costs that much because that's what Perks is worth. That's what G2 valued him at. Carlos is great at doing that. He's probably the best at doing that. Only followed behind Cloud9, who does a great job of valuing their players highly and then selling them high. So I think that was I think you had to take that if you're Cloud9. Yeah, like Abadaga over Niski isn't it just isn't an upgrade enough where you're like, yes, now I know why we're getting rid of Niski. This is how we're going to get over the hump over not only in North America, but at Worlds. Like, Perks brings you that. Like, confirmed. Abadaga might for 100 Thieves, but that wasn't a confirmed, like, surefire thing. You bought the best player in the market to get you the best result possible. Not, hey, you bought a very good player in the market to see where it elevates the rest of your very good team. Those are two different situations. All right, everyone, that was the longest dGon versus commenters ever. We had spicy takes, spicy talks, and I had fun on that episode. I know that it was polarizing. We had some people that loved it, and we had a lot of people that didn't. So either way, we appreciate you watching, and you know, I'll continue to strive to have this show be fun, entertaining, and informative, and I think we did that. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys on Monday or whenever next week after our playoff matches.
Well, that's the end of that video. You want more though, right? Thought so. Good thing YouTube makes it so easy to watch more VENN Esports simply by clicking the subscribe button, dinging the bell, and exploring all the other good stuff we have to offer. Got some good things. Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah, this was the one that we did that one time, and it was like so great. It was so good. I learned a lot. You should click on it. It's this one.